Well, Much for Pride was the concept of a group of Iditarod drivers to start out with, but has been joined by recreational and anybody that's involved in the sport of sled dogs. Ski touring, recreational, sprinting, or long-distance driving, to try to encourage real good dog care 365 days a year in the kennels. Was originally the idea to try to establish some standards that were the acceptable standards of quality dog care in a kennel throughout the year. Quality of life that a sled dog should be expected to have. Well, the concept was to be able to have some handbooks that would be available, printed material that we would all have come, because all of us were coming from different parts of the state, from different backgrounds and different monetary, and financial availabilities as well. And so we were trying to bring together a collective pocket of information where it would take into consideration the fact, for instance, some people had accessibility to barrels to make a doghouse, or some had accessibility to grass as opposed to having to purchase straw. Some were cooking for their dogs. Some had the ability to buy commercial dog food, but was trying to bring all of that background of information that, state of Alaska is huge. I mean, if you were to look at us on continental USA, you would see us going from the East Coast to the West Coast. And so it was trying to bring all that wealth of knowledge together. And it's a good thing we did, because, we have lost some of those people, for instance. And so, this was an opportunity to standardize that care, and it became a wealth of knowledge, a body of knowledge that was bigger than the individuals. One of the things was, Alaskans are not really keen about being regulated. I mean, none of us are too keen about being zoned, a bunch of kennel license requirements, a bunch of those regulations. However, we do have and hold ourselves to a pretty high standard of expectations for our dogs. And so this was providing that information and that type of thing without having some kind of a agency coming in, and somebody that perhaps was not even inside our sport going around and saying, yes, this is a certified kennel, no, this is not certified kennel. This was responsible information and voluntarily providing the quality of life that these dogs required. And, I think that the truth be known, those of us that are inside this sport hold ourselves to a higher standard than any agency ever could, because we understand these dogs. We're committed to them for a lifetime. And many people don't understand. Providing exercise, for instance, is incredibly important for active dogs. They're not showpieces that you parade out a few times a year for the big carnivals. These are dogs that require exercise and a commitment to the types of mental as well as physical stimulation that they need 365 days a year. Lifetime. And generally speaking, because we are so committed to their food and their veterinary care, and we have put so much emphasis on their physical conditioning throughout their lives, they often live to be 14, 15 years old. So it isn't something you take on lightly, and it isn't something that you do just in the winter, like a snow machine, for instance. You don't trade them out for a lab in the summer and a sled dog in the winter like you might a four-wheeler or a snow machine. And just because it's summertime, it doesn't mean they don't still have a requirement for exercise and stimulation, as opposed to wintertime when it's easier to provide that. So, it was taking all of that into consideration and trying to help people understand what it is that those of us that have made our lifetime commitment, this is what we have found to be in the best interest of our dogs. One of the things that happened is Mush for Pride, to be a member of that, became part of Iditarod's entry requirement, and that was really a great thing, because it made everybody be on the same page. At least you had access to this information. Everybody that was interested in racing at the top of the pack, that set the standard, which Iditarod does for long-distance racing. So that then began to make it be more than statewide. It made it national and international. you can ask someone to come from the board and to inspect the kennel and give it a certification, or ask for recommendations of ways that you can improve. And, that not only allows you to say, I have had other eyes come and evaluate my animals, but it also gives you a kind of a confidence that what you think is right, other people agree. And I think, like I said, ultimately the person I'm most responsible to is to my heart that I'm doing what's best for my dogs.